Hi guys, Chris with Coldbreak here with another customer question. Here we go. He asks, hey guys, I bought a 4-tap stainless steel jockey box from a friend recently. It needs a little tune-up, TLC, and was hoping for some advice from the pros. The taprite gas regulator is missing that inner black rubber O-ring seal. I can't get a proper seal with just the clear silicone anymore. When the gas wasn't an issue, the foaming beer lines were. I've worked in a tap room for many years and understand the overall logistics of a commercial system. Cool and clean lines, proper PSI. I'm thinking these lines sat for a while. Even with cleaning them, I might need a new line setup. I'd love to hear any suggestions or troubleshooting ideas that you have for both issues. Thanks. All right, so let's take the first question, the taprite O-ring. Now, there's kind of a love-hate relationship with this part. I love the fact that the O-ring is built into the regulator. And just for reference, here's what he's speaking of, right? So this black O-ring that's built into the regulator washer, you can't really tell, but this hole here is actually an Allen wrench. And so you stick an Allen, I don't remember the exact size, but it's a pretty small one. Just stick an Allen wrench in here and unscrew it. This middle piece pops out, and then the regulator or the O-ring comes out as well. So the love-hate relationship with this is these are permanent-ish, and you don't have to really worry about losing them. The downside is if you take this on and off frequently, this black washer can eventually wear down and need replacing. So that's the easiest way to do it. We do have replacements on our website. If you go just to the regulator's main part of the page here at the very bottom, we've got the CO2 regulator washer. Looks like we're out of stock at the moment, but I'm sure there's some inbound. This is the regulator seal I think that he was referring to earlier that he was trying to get. They do have plastic washers. So if your regulator doesn't have one of those O-rings, this is the piece that you need to keep that seal between the tank and the regulator from the gas from leaking. So the CO2 plastic washers for regulators that don't have the regulator washer and vice versa. So the next part of the question was, let's see here. When the gas was an issue, the foaming beer lines were. I've worked in a tap room. Okay, so foaming beer lines. Oh, you don't need that other face up there. The foaming beer lines, yes, he might be used to a proper setup in a tap room. You guys have to remember that this is not a kegerator and it's not a permanent draft system. This is an unbalanced system where you are you're just pushing the beer through the system with brute force. So a standard setup like in a kegerator or a tap room is not the correct way to do it. You have to have 25 to 30 PSI for a 5/16 50-foot coil. That's the typical setup that we have. And with that setup, the 25 to 30 PSI is going to go through the system. It's going to create a typically a foam-free pour. Now, if you're too under or too over, you're going to get foam. The other reason that he might be getting foam is because it might not be set up properly. We tell people to set your system up, run some beer through it, get the lines full of whatever it is you're pouring, then add all of your ice and add your ice completely full. Add the cooler completely full of ice. Then walk away for 10 to 15 minutes. You need to let the cooler acclimate. The ice is going to touch the coils, which touches the shanks, which touches the faucet, so everything in that cooler gets cold. If your faucets are warm or your shanks are warm, but your beer, like the beer lines are cold, and then once it hits that shank and it's warmer, that temperature difference will want to cause the CO2 to escape from the beer, and it will cause foam. So walk away from it, let it acclimate, 10, 15 minutes. When you come back to it, you're going to get a nice pour. One of the best ways to tell that your jockey box is ready to pour, if you touch the faucets, they're cold. Or if it's hot out and it's cold, like they will start to condensate on the outside. So the last part he was asking about is about the lines. And the even with cleaning them, he might need a new line setup. So vinyl tubing is very cheap. Let's go to the website here. Tubing. If you need to replace tubing, we sell it in bulk. The lines from your keg to your jockey box should be about 5/16. You always want to go larger to smaller in a system. You never want to go small tubing to a larger tubing. So the ID of the stainless steel coils in the Jockey box, which are 5/16 OD, so 1/4 inch ID. So we like 5/16 ID going to the Jockey box. So a little bit bigger, and then it steps down as it goes into the Jockey box. So you can replace the tubing. We like 6 foot lengths. It gives you plenty of room without being overly long. And then if you need a full complete jumper, we have those as well. These are 6 foot jumpers if you want them pre-built. Otherwise, if you just get long tubing and cut it to your length that you need, the parts and pieces that you already have can be just, unclip the hose clamp that's attached here and then put a new hose clamp on to the barb. All these pieces that we sell are stainless steel. They're gonna last forever as long as you take care of them. So you typically won't need new hardware, but you will need new vinyl tubing occasionally, every 6 to 18 months or so, depending on how often you're using it, how well you clean it. If you're pouring stuff that's got a lot of flavor to it, like root beer, that's going to, like, as soon as you pour root beer in one of these vinyl tubings, that's your dedicated root beer line, right? So everything else that you pour through, it's going to taste like root beer. So anything that's got a strong flavor, you might need to replace the vinyl tubing. Luckily, it's going to cost you $6 to replace the tubing, or more if you need all the hardware with it. So, all right. Any other questions? Fire them off. Chris at Coldbreak USA is my direct email. Otherwise, support at Coldbreak USA. Keep the questions coming, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.